fellow goes to the doctors and says, I've got genetic diarrhea. The doctor says, genetic diarrhea? He says, I've never heard of it. So he says, yes, it's a genetic diarrhea. He then drops his trousers and says, look, it's in my genes. Sorry about that. What's happened to Paul? He's disappeared. Have I accidentally knocked him off? We had another gentleman, Paul, here, and tonight we got Robert, the rebellious one, and we did have Sir Hanorak, Paul, but he's gone. I don't know quite where he's gone, but he should. So, Paul, if you could come back, if you're listening, we don't know what's happened to you, but welcome to the show, everybody. He's come back. His device is connected. Hello, Paul. What happened to you? This is His Royal Hanorak, Paul.
Sorry about
that. So, was it me? Did I press the wrong button, knock you off accidentally, or had a bit of trouble? It's the joke. I think that's what it is. It was the joke that did it. You know, the diarrhea joke. And did you know that word diarrhea was the first word that my sister learnt to spell when she was a kid? Seriously.
That's actually quite a complicated word. That's actually quite a complicated word.
It is. 2 H's, diarrhea. I can't. I find it difficult. Anyway, let's have a quick look in chat. We've got. Don't know who this geezer is. Some bloke. Anyway, he says he's very good evening to one and all. Yeah. And then we've got Aunt Sally says, good evening, folks. I have to go out tonight and be a taxi mum, so we'll be listening whilst doddering around Sainsbury's waiting for my son. That's interesting. And we've got. I don't know who this geezer is either. Good evening, all, Paul. And that's his Royal Hanorak. Yes, we got Sue Sparkle. Good evening, everyone. Hello, and that's very kind, Robert. Hit the like button, please. Thanks, mate. We got Chris the Gardener. Evening, gents. Evening, chat. And then we've got Stig. Good morning from New Zealand. So there we are. So the sun never sets on the Fockham Empire. So there we go. So and we got Paul Mahanid. Hi, hello. Right. We was going to start. The title of this show is from what a comedian said. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And it was from the late, great Charlie Williams. Here he is, Charlie Williams in his heyday. And he, hang on, it's all gone a bit funny on the screen now. And Charlie Williams, he was a footballer. And his father came over from the West Indies before the First World War and was actually gassed during the war. During the First World War, and died when Charlie Williams was very young. And he, as I say, Charlie started off as he worked down mines, I believe. He started off as a singer, and told gags in between his singing, and he found that people were liking his gags. He's a very good singer. More, I wouldn't say more, but his gags won through, so he became a comedian. And that's how it started. But I always remember that saying that you said, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I think that's a terrific one. That really is. Now we got here.
I can certainly vouch for that. I must be honest. I do a lot of nice or kind gestures, should we say. So, for example, if I go into the supermarket, I don't use some supermarkets very often. But if somebody lets me go first in front of them, I'll drop £1 to the cashier and ask them to take that off the person who's let me go first, off their bill.
That's
and that
really
goes down.
fine.
That goes down the street.
That is a bloody nice one. I tell you what, Nathan did. I think it was last. He gave Christmas cards out to strangers. He bought a box of cheap Christmas cards and just gave them out to strangers. And I think that's a nice one. Just gave a Christmas card out, you know. And hello, we got reconciliation in. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Shelley and Eric and all. Still working here at the factory. So I hope you didn't hear the beginning gag, because you would have. because he's actually in Wisconsin, reconciliation, and Aunt Sally says, "I'm leaving now." Are you really? Was it something we said? Or was it? I don't
Wisconsin.
know.
Yeah.
My son is doing a martial arts class for an hour.
Mm.
It takes 20 minutes to get there and 20 minutes back, so not worth me going home. Hence the loitering in Sainsbury's. So any strange ladies in Sainsbury's? It'd be Sally. Here we go. We've got Louise Wilcox. Hello, Louise. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is okay. And Roberts asked about Krista Gardner. Hi, Sue Sprinkle. My wife, okay. We won't know until February how the treatment, so-called, has gone. Thanks, Sue. Love from Norfolk. Oh, that's very sad. But let's have some. We'll send some healing thoughts to Jess, shall we? So we've got some lovely healing thoughts now. Let's try. Hang on, I'm trying to find the bloody music. Where is it? Right.
You could try saying you are perfect health. That might help give a bit of positivity.
There we go. Nice. And we're also sending out some peaceful and there's a person called Ian, who's a neighbour of mine, who is very ill at the moment. So let's heal him, shall we? So that's it. So let's heal Ian, shall we? That's it. So it's Jess and Ian. And do you know something? That works. I know, because several people have said, it works. Here we are. And it's even made my phone go ding, 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 ding. So there we go. I think Robert's just... Sorry?
I have a good friend of mine who advises on using affirmations and just saying positive words about yourself. So I am perfect. I am healthy. I am beautiful. Things like that.
And tapping as well. That's another one. You do tapping. I've seen that being done. Tapping. Has anybody done that to you, Robert, in standing in the park? Tapping?
Tapping?
I think
no, I got tapped up for a cup of coffee once or twice, but apart from that, no.
Yeah.
We used to do a meditation.
Yeah.
Sorry, we used to do a meditation at, obviously you gather at your place in the park. We gathered next to this big old oak tree, which was hundreds of years. As you may remember, Chris, we congregated in a place in Finchley in North London, which was a favourite spot of the great Spike Milligan.
Oh, yes.
And one of his daughters is a sometime understanding the park thing. So, and she's quite the entertainer herself. So we'd have a little sort of gathering there. And I don't. When I get there now, it's a little bit too late for the meditation side, but I kind of gather in the cafe with them afterwards and have a little chat. So if you're listening, folks, Jax or anyone of the else, sending out big love to them. But it's interesting, really, that there's all sorts of things that have come into what I'd see the mainstream now. Things like what you were speaking of, tapping, the things that seems to be Paul's specialty, numerology or gematria. I don't know what you call it, but Paul, what is the difference between numerology and gematria? Is it the same thing, or is it a different strand of the same thing?
My understanding, and I'm no expert on it by any means, but my understanding is numerology is down to dates, so the dates in the calendar, so date numerology. Gematria is letters as numerals, so I use 4-base ciphers when I do decodings, but others come into it as well. So you have, for example, the ordinal, which is A to Z, A being 1, Z 26, and each letter in the word has a value, and you add those values up. You also have where we have your reverse, where Z is 1, A is 26, and then you have the other two where the values are reduced down. So A to I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I would be A to I be 1 to 9, but then K or J, whichever one's the 10th letter, would be reduced down to 1 because 1 plus 0 equals 1. And that gives you a value for every word in the known language, as it were.
That's interesting. That's fascinating. Also, I mean,
Right.
uh,
So what would you make
go
of my name, Robert, or Chris's name? What would you make
on.
out of that in terms of numerology? What would that add up to be? Would it be would I end up being the mark of the beast or something, as in my Oyster card thing
No,
the other day?
not in those 4 base ciphers. So Robert would be, so in ordinal, your value would be 78. I take you're not a Freemason.
78.
Yeah.
No,
Reduction would,
not today. Anyways,
the reason would be because 30 reduction comes up as 33. And then we've got reverse as 84, and then reverse reduction as
33.
33.
Right. Oddly enough, my the last family home that I lived in, God rest her soul, my mother, well, she's gone, but we lived at 33 Bridge Croft in Birmingham, in Highgate. And oddly, it's weird because I use 33 in my lottery numbers because it's the house number. Now, I don't know if that's lucky or unlucky or why I haven't become a squillionaire by now. I'm not quite sure, but so the numbers just stay with you, Paul,
Certain numbers, as I said before,
throughout your life.
I certainly keep seeing double sets of numbers, like I said before. About alongside the alternative number of the beast, which is 616, I keep seeing that. I said before about the where I'd click on the clock in the morning, the alarm clock, and it would show 616. Or I'd go to
Yeah.
the local farm shop, purchase some bits and pieces. I bought some cooked turkey, and that the woman
Mm.
put me 4 or 5 slices. I put, say, can you just put another slice on there? And they came to £6.16. It's as though they're talking to us. I don't know how, but I also keep seeing double numbers. So I'll pick up my phone, it'll say 2020 or 1919 and so on. And that's
Continue, please.
even
Sorry, you were talking about cooked turkey and 616. You cut out.
so when the lady sliced the turkey for me, put it on the scales, it came to £6.16. That was the price of it. So I keep seeing certain numbers and certain values, even down to things like traveling on a bus. It'll be fleet number 3333, as an example.
Right. I see what you mean.
But it was the number 33 that got me on this route with regards to Sarah Everard and her
Right.
sacrifice, or whatever you want to call it.
Is there, Paul, is the number 33? Because it seems.
Sorry, I missed that.
Right. Was she 33 when she was killed?
She was. It was, and it was the
Was she
third of.
33 when she was murdered, Sarah Everard?
She was, and it was at Clapham Common, which is C and C, which is 3 and 3, and it was the 3rd of March,
3rd of
which is 33.
March, yeah?
3rd of March.
Hello, I think Robert's his internet's gone tits up. Oh, blimey, he'll be back. Don't worry. What I was going to say is we've got here now. I can't read this one out very. It's in the eyes of the. Have a look. They are always in a hurry. It's a good point, that, isn't it? Yes, I've noticed that. And have you noticed an increase in blood wagons around? The ambulances, actually. A big increase in them.
Yes, I think.
Yes.
I agree, Chris, and I think dare I say that they seem to be at the same sort of times every day.
Yes, you got a good point there.
And my mum and dad have been in and out of hospital. My mum was in hospital
sorry to
last
hear
year,
that.
but we have ambulances going around saying beware of sepsis. But my mum
Yes, a
caught
new
sepsis.
one. Really?
But my mum caught sepsis in hospital, which makes you wonder if it's an advert rather than a warning.
Oh yes. It's well. Let's put it this way. Talking about those type of things. We can carry this on Rumble, shall we say? We're not. We're going to Rumble. We're going to a Rumble area.
Well, that certain word that we can't say equals 666.
Yes, that's right. In fact, with numerology or number gematria and things like that, it's a fascinating subject. Was that the voice from the void? And Stephen Truthseeker says the mark of the beast is meant to be the microchip that will come with the number probably 666. Yeah. And what about the 6 of the 6, 1966? That must have been a bit of a worrying time, mustn't it? You know, but how about, this is David or Dave ID? That's quite good. I like that. How about the number 23?
Let me have a look. Let me check my check with Bully, shall we say? I've got a little spreadsheet with certain numbers on, and see what comes up. I haven't got everything listed, but
right. Whilst you're looking at, we've had a message from Deb. Can't stay. Been out most. Oh yes, Deb. Need to have a word with you about future shows. So, you know, well, I'll have a word soon. You know. But
number 23 links to MAGA, M-A-G-A, which is to do with the Church of Satan, should we say? That's the highest part of it. Yeah, 23.
23.
Not a number that comes up very often, though.
3 6s and 9s come up in my father's world, and usually with my. But I'll tell you something weird. I was looking for a steamer the other day, and about a month ago. A steamer, yeah, because the thing is, I like to steam with trousers, and the steam iron is I think it was around when cavemen were around. It's a bit old, my iron, you see. So I was sort of thinking, I wouldn't mind a steamer, but I didn't really want a steam iron. I wanted something that I could hang a jacket on something. Now, Robert's just sent me a message saying, "What's wrong with the link?" Hang on, I'll just send back. All okay here.
Is this the fun of using YouTube?
Send another link. That's right. I'll put down. We'll send another link. Here we go. Right. We'll have to do that, and if you could just bear me a moment, I'll just send Robert a link. So here we go. So go and make a cup of tea and talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Now, what is it? Here we go. And bingo. That's it. It's going to go through any moment, and it's just bouncing off Australia, and there it's gone through. Right, so we'll hopefully get Robert back soon.
Well, on the back of last night's conversation, it won't be bouncing off a satellite. Let's put it that way.
That's right.
That was an interesting one last night.
It was.
Really and
somebody said that, was it 66 or 67, whatever it is, degrees south, is actually the Arctic. Huh?
Yeah, 66.6. Is that right? Yeah.
I don't know.
And they tell us we travel to the around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. Another 666 there.
Well,
all
I'm
lies.
Just looking at everything we've been told is just a complete and utter pack of lies.
It is, yeah. And his story.
Yes, his story. That's right. Now, Louise Wilcox says, we keep seeing double numbers too. It is the harmony of our frequencies at the moment. And Paul Mohammed says, numbers create patterns. Yes, they do. Yeah. Now, Stephen Truthseeker says, the door number 22 was above the Masonic building on Hope Street, Liverpool. Now, Hope Street, correct me if I'm wrong, was that the street where there's time slips? Anybody in chat? Yeah, I don't know, but that's an interesting one. Yes,
22
Chris.
22 does come up a lot.
Yes.
And that links to, am I allowed to say the Jesuit word? Am I allowed to say Jesuits?
Yes. So, yes, we say we've got to be very careful with some words, you see, because the computer in GCHQ picks it up, and you've got all the boys, with their headphones on going, oh, you've mentioned a naughty word there. Right. ban him for that, you know. So you've got to be a bit careful on that one, you know. But yes, I think we're calling the small hat people. I think we're talking about.
Yeah, call them the
yes,
Jays.
yes.
Yes, that's equal.
Birds, of course. We're talking about birds, jays. Yes, lots of
Yes.
them around. Yes, Chris. It's that time of the year again when they send out the fear wagons. That's right. But no, we've got nothing against jays and birds like that. It's just the psychopath elements of their group that we're against, and the psychopath elements of most groups, regardless, because every group seems to have a psychopath in it. Or
we should all be free,
psychopaths.
ultimately. We should be
That's
free
right.
to live,
Yes.
not
Right.
be dictated to.
Precisely. Chris, can't stay. This is Deb. Been out most of the day. Oh no, at a funeral. Waiting for some food now. But please remember to hit the like button. Bless you. And share the video. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. And now, what about the number on some German helmets in World War II? Now, that's an interesting one. Because, what's it about World War One, World War Two, at the beginning of all these wars? I think it's 68 it lines up with. I think if you add the dates up, it always comes up to 68. I think
Well, it started on a 68 date numerology. All world wars do. So if you add up the numbers, I think we did this on the last one.
Yeah.
If you add up the numbers for the day they started, you get 68, and that applies to World War One, World War Two, and the current situation in Ukraine. That's also
right.
got 68 numerology.
But sorry, carry on. Sorry, Paul.
I was going to say that the Ukraine-Russia war started on the 24th of February, which is 224. And if you put Ukraine-Russia war into gematria, you get 224. So it's as though they're planned rather than someone saying, "Well, we're going to go shoot someone." They're planned in advance, I would suggest.
I think they are. I think the only war that wasn't really planned was World War Two. It was planned to be with a different enemy because America. Did you know that in the 30s, America planned to go to war with Britain? Because you know what happens with military, they will look at who is a potential enemy and sort of work out how they're going to defend themselves. Ah, he's back as Robert. What the bloody hell's happened? Hello, Robert. What's happened? It's. I mean, I sent you another link. It might be internet tits up. Have you thought of refreshing your router? Because I often switch my router off overnight and switch it back on in the morning.
Fine. I just need to log in.
Just
need to log in again. So where were we? Sorry.
Well, we're looking at. We've just been talking in chat, and Dave ID, I think Dave ID, I think is Dav ID, I think is the best way to pronounce it. What about the number on some German helmets in World War II? Now, I'm unaware of numbers on German helmets, but he was looking into that.
Unit number or a platoon number or regimental number?
Don't know.
No,
but
so if it was
numbers,
6,
what precisely does he mean? I mean.
Well, I think that as we were saying, to get up to speed, Robert, is what was it? All wars begin with 68.
They all have a 68 date numerology. So if you add the start dates of the numbers that make up the start date, they all always equal 68.
Well, World War II was 3, 6, and 9. Because you look at it, everything about World War II was 3, 6, and 9 all the way through. It was uncanny. Very uncanny. But
the number 9 is seen as a number of completion, and every multiple of 9 equals 9. So 9, 18, 8 plus 1, 27, 2 plus 7, 9.
Yeah.
So they all, no matter how far you go through the number 9 multiples, they all equal 9.
Now this is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. Phil Howard, Trump's son-in-law, what's his name? Jared Kushner, buying 666 Fifth Avenue in Midtown Manhattan was an interesting choice of number. And was it Ronald Reagan? I think Survivalist Steve was saying lived at 666.
Well, Trump also announced when he ran for presidency, when he announced he was running for this term. Between his last day in office in 2021, and him announcing was 666 days.
Interesting, very interesting. But
Paul, where do you stand on inversions of numbers?
Pass. Not heard of those. Inversion numbers. Would explain a bit more.
Yeah, just inversions of it, spinning them upside down. So 999 would be 666.
Yeah.
How do you stand?
I missed the end half of that. Sorry.
No, what?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that again, Robert? You didn't quite catch it because something happened. There's a glitch in.
I was asking Paul where he stands on inversions of numbers. So when you spin 666 upside down, it's 999, the emergency number in the UK. So where does Paul stand on that? Is it significant? Is it done to actually divert us away from things? Or obviously the powers that shouldn't be seem to have a control of numerology, and they seem to be able to manipulate numerology and gematria in very significant ways, and probably use it as a marker and a warning for us. Or am I reading too much into it?
I think my understanding is it's used for. They'll tell us one thing, but something else is happening. So in the news, for example, like let's talk about Liam Payne, who he died at 31 from a fall, and the word fall equals 31. So in my understanding is they hide the truth in plain sight, as well as we know they do that in all parts of. And my understanding with the numerology side of it is that it's basically what I do in the news side of things is basically decoding the news from what they're actually telling us to what the truth really is. Now I've got a friend at work who decodes sport, and there's a lot of links between sport and events that go on, and that's quite. I've yet to go down that route, but yes, a lot of professional sports, football, American football, basketball, and all the rest of it, all tie into events that go on. And for example, the number 88 links to Trump, and we were looking at Grand National winners. The first Grand National winner was a name called Lottery, which is interesting. We have the lottery now, and it was owned by somebody called Mason. But there was one horse in particular called Jay Trump, and it died on the 24th of August 1988. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. August is 8, so you got 88, and you got 1988, so you got 88 and 88, and Trump equals 88. So I don't know if there's some link between that and the horse dying.
That's interesting, but I'll tell you something else you see about Trump. I'm going to upset a lot of Trump followers and believers and things like that. One thing I couldn't understand, when Trump was elected, a load of Trump political stuff I saw was in the pound shop. You know, make America great. And I thought, what the bloody hell's that got to do with us? You know, what? So what? You know, and the thing about it is that apparently Trump was in a lot of debt, a heck of a lot of debt, and an agent of Rothschild paid off his debts. Isn't that strange? Isn't that really strange? And similar to Churchill, I believe he was bought because he had debts to £19,500. He was due to lose Chartwell, his house, and then suddenly the City of London pay off his debts, and he manages to afford a huge staff at Chartwell on an MP's salary. I wonder.
Of course, the City of London is owned by the elite, isn't it? Which is their banking arm.
Yeah. So, you know, it all sorts of, these people are just paid. And as I've said, there's a picture there of a footballer with a shirt on, and football and racing car drivers have who sponsors them, you know, like, you know, Marlboro and whatever. So why can't MPs have shirts showing you who's sponsoring them? Wouldn't that be better? You know, they stand up and you see Trump, you see, Rothschilds, and it would be plastered with them because you might as well be straight about it. You know, they're being paid, so that's
But of
it.
course, I guess ultimately we know that the MPs are owned by the Jays, as we were. Because the MPs are just puppets to the elite,
know
aren't
who?
they?
Yeah,
They're just the front man to take the stick, whilst
the psychos. They're
yeah,
basically the
whilst,
psychopaths. And we're
whilst
not
the
saying that
people behind pull the strings.
all people that we're not allowed to criticise are the same. No, they're not. It's just a psycho branch of them, and it's the same with all, as I say, all nationalities. There is the psycho branch which get into power, and this is what we've got to guard against. And this is why I'm against government, because government you'll always get the psycho in power, because they are the ones that are so arrogant to get there.
The thing is, how do we know our vote even works? I mean, from what I've seen over the last sort of 4 or 5 years of waking up, that it seems as though these people are placed there and your vote means nothing.
I agree with you.
If you look at
let's
America,
face it. Well, look over here, Keir Starmer. A man who looks as if he's wet his knickers.
he probably has.
Hello, everybody. I've wet my knickers. Oh. And the other one is David Lammy, who thought that Libya was next to Syria.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I mean, have you noticed?
Harvard as well, by the way.
Well, have you noticed that every political party has got dumber and dumber and dumber over the years? I mean, I thought about 10 years ago, sooner I thought he was bleeding dumb, but they got even dumber now, because you think of the standards of the university, how it's dropped. I think if you could write your name and get a degree now, yeah. Can you do joined up writing? Oh, we get a degree. Oh, that's good, isn't it?
But it's indicative of declining standards all over, Chris. It's not education. It's a lack of curiosity. Yeah. It's a lack of local knowledge, for want of a better. I mean, I deal with, as you know, in what I deal with chauffeurs and cab drivers, and my heart sinks when these people actually, my guests go out and say, well, can you get us a car? I said, yeah, no, that's no problem. I've got a list of cab drivers that I use and chauffeurs. Oh, we'll get an Uber. I said, Uber is Latin for I'm lost. You know that, don't you?
I didn't know that.
It goes over their heads. I mean, it's mostly Arabs anyway. But, I mean, they were actually, and ironically, the guy that gave Uber the license when he was Chancellor, George Osborne, walked past the front of the apartments that I manage about probably 4 months ago. And I kind of quipped, I said, I'm surprised that you haven't been run over by a black cab driver by now. And he kind of looks very askance to me. And I found out that he works he's a figurehead for a hedge fund in Mayfair, around the corner from where I work. So he was obviously walking there to get yet another free lunch, probably. And it's, but that's an indicative of the declining standards. I mean, I've actually had to walk in the rain to go and pick up a family of Saudi people that were left by the Ukrainian church, which is probably about 400, 500 meters away, in the peeling down rain with luggage that could probably give an elephant a hernia. And we think, I mean, they travel with, I hate to be sexist, but women are probably the worst. I call it just in case packing. And they pack everything just in case. That sequin sweater that they've never worn for years, they put it in, they're going to Canada, or they're going to the United States, or they're going to France, they're going to Paris, let's say, and they will pack that bloody thing, and they're never going to use it. And it never gets used, but it just adds to the gross kind of tonnage, if you like, of things that we have to lift up. And going back to it, it's declining standards all over. I mean, don't you find that, Paul, as well?
Yeah, I must be honest. I've seen there's lots of things. I watch a lot of these police audits, and
Oh
the
yeah,
police
right.
don't
Okay.
the police don't have a clue about the oath they stand under, the
Oh, they
laws that they
don't
break. They break the law all the time, and
all
and
the
it's
time.
things like this that need to be brought back into line. So if we're going down to a new world, or where things have got to change, I mean, the police constable was there to keep the peace. That was their role.
Yeah.
But now they're
Mm,
doing government policy, which is not, their oath isn't sworn to that. They swear the
yeah,
oath to the fake king or the queen or whatever,
yeah.
and that's what their oath is sworn to, not to the government. But they're doing government policy, and
Mm,
I mean, I watch a lot of these police audits, and they haven't got a clue. They have no
Mm.
idea how to deal with, how to speak to the public,
mm.
and they know that there's no consequences
You're
if
quite.
they do
That's all
speak
right.
to the
Paul,
public like dirt.
mm. Paul, can I ask if you spell constable with two U's or an O and a U? I thought you'd like that one, you guys. Yeah, but it's
It's
really.
right,
I mean,
yeah.
you're quite
Yeah.
right. I mean, you're being serious with it. You're quite right, Paul. They worship the PACE Act, the Police and Criminal Evidence Act.
Yeah,
Now, you said you've violated section blah 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 of the PACE Act or whatever else, and you've got this chap on here, Chris. You know, the fellow that purports to be a black belt and a barrister at the same time. You know that chap.
Oh, bloody hell, yes, yes. Good.
You've
No, I
got
won't say
him
anymore.
basically
Yeah.
working for the evil is the judiciary. Now,
Mm.
um, Paul, are you familiar with the black cube?
yes, that's to do with, in the elites world, it's to do with the North Pole of Saturn, which is why the black cubes
Right.
everywhere, like
Okay. Now,
Xbox and so on.
precisely. Now, our friends with the small hats, and also the Greek Orthodox discipline, and Islamists have that black cube on their head when they're praying at times. They also have the Qibla in Jeddah. Is it Jeddah or Mecca in Saudi Arabia? They have the Qibla where a Muslim, when they finish their pilgrimage. Pilgrimage is basically no turning back for a Muslim. So these guys that have been carousing and drinking ale and whatever else and chasing loose women in Mayfair, when they're younger, when they get serious and they feel, well, okay, I'm not going to have another drop of whiskey again, no matter how nice it tastes, no matter how good it makes me feel, they go to Mecca and that's no turning back. Once you go there and you circle the Qibla, I can't remember, Paul, I think it's something significant, like 6 times or 3 times, but you have to kind of circle it. And once you've done that, you are truly.
Isn't that linked to
Carry on, mate,
the
sorry.
satanic? Isn't that linked to the satanic world, though, Saturn? So like a lot of our logos, like is it Nike that's got the swoosh
Nike.
around Nike?
Swish.
So that's to do with
Amazon as well.
the rings of
Amazon
Saturn. And you've got things like when 9/11, when they took away the buildings, and the monument they put in place was 2 inverted black cubes inside inverted black cubes, which is their world.
Jesus.
You have the Xbox as well.
Also, yeah. Also, you've got the crescent on the Turkish flag as well, the star and the crescent, and that is obviously it's on top of every mosque. You've got a star and a crescent. That's their crucifix, I guess. So yeah, it's amazing. But you say it's Saturn, right? So Saturn has certain powers and certain properties
in their world,
of the sort of geometry and numerology, and also do other planets have that same draw, like Mars or Venus? Do other planets have that same kind of draw as Saturn?
I think where Saturn is concerned, it's because Saturn and Satan, Saturn Day, that sort of thing.
Right.
I don't know about the other planets. I'm not familiar with those, but Saturn links to Satan.
Isn't it also around Christmas time? Saturnalia was the Roman festival. Have I got that right? I may be wrong on that one. Saturnalia, that was all sort of, that was something. But I noticed Louise has come up with an interesting one. She said that police only get 6 months training, and that is mainly in their power of arrest, not the actual law. Oh yeah, police don't know the law that should be followed. The police are purely publicity paid
Yeah.
private security guards for corporation. Correct. And I'll tell you what, my theory is the reason they're getting
Absolutely right.
military aged men from the third world over here is to employ them to boot doors in. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
I think that's their door, because let's face it, they're from a different culture, so they won't give a shit about us, unless there are a few with a conscience, which I'm sure there will be. And they say, oh, good pay, 3 square meals a day, and you just have to go along that address and arrest everybody, and that's it. And I actually do believe that that is what they're going to be used
crash
for.
their car or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is. It's. I wanted to pick up on a point Louise made, which is, I mean, she's always on this, which is great. She's a very sharp lady, that is Louise.
Yes.
Now, I've mentioned this to you before, Chris. Have you noticed how by stealth they've changed from navy blue, a friendly Dixon dark green navy blue, to black?
Yes.
Uniforms
Good
are
point.
all black now. They're all black now.
Very sinister,
now,
isn't it?
I remember I was down in, that's it. I was down in St. John's Wood, going to a deli, and I asked these two plod, I asked them, why have you changed from navy blue to black? And he said, it was, I can't remember, he gave some really weak, insipid excuse. Can't remember what it was, but I just thought, that doesn't hold water. I've never heard such a bunch of specious nonsense in my life. And he couldn't answer it. He's probably just one of those people that I do as I'm told, Gov, you know. It's rather like the Ronnie Corbett, Ronnie Barker, and John Cleese sketch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm middle class, and I am better than him. I am lower class, and he's better than me, but I'm better than him. I know my place. Do you remember that, Chris?
I remember that. Was it? Do you
remember that, Chris?
I remember that, and the other one was it? I work from home because I'm
it was a great
upper class,
sketch.
and then the middle
really
one was
sums up the stratas.
Yeah, it does. But have you noticed also police? Now I saw a policeman.
Yeah.
You very rarely
It
see a
really sums up
policeman.
the stratas of the class system in this country. But
Yeah.
what they try.
Can't hear at the moment, Robert.
It's okay. I think his internet's gone down. You all right, mate? Oh bloody hell! It's gone down again.
I was just saying the black and white probably links back to Freemasonry, because the Masonic lodges have black and white checkered floors, and
That's
they
right.
drive around in police cars which have got blue and yellow, which is also Freemason colours.
That's right. We lost. I think it's this internet connection. So let's all put some positive energy into Robert's internet connection. You know, let's hope it works.
Fingers crossed.
That's it. I don't know what it is about that area of London, but people from that area of London, everyone I've spoken to has a bad internet connection. I think it's sort of. Oh, he's back again. Hello, Robert. We've just been saying rude things about your internet connection. What is it about your area of London?
Yeah,
that seems to have I mean, there's miles.
You know what?
There was
paying attention for this blasted mobile phone as well. You know.
Well,
saying about,
carry on. Sorry, Chris.
We were talking about the colours where the police were concerned, and I was saying the police, they have it on their helmet, it's black and white checkered, which is the same colour as the flooring in Masonic lodges, for example. Yes. And then they drive around in blue and yellow cars, liveried cars.
It's absolutely
blue and yellow also links to the same thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is how short policemen are. Now, you very rarely see a policeman.
That is actually in the foyer of the one of the. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, but Paul, coming back to the black and white checks, that is actually in the foyer of one of the buildings that I manage.
Is it quite an old building?
It's black and white marble, basically. And that's a classic sort of... It's quite old, actually. Yeah, it is quite old. It's got to be 150, 200 years old.
It might be Masonic related, because if you remember when
I'll have to get there. I'll have to find out exactly how old it is.
Because even when they moved the Queen's coffin to, was it Westminster Abbey,
Go on,
and the
mate.
floor
Sorry.
was up. Can you hear me all right? When they moved the Queen's coffin to Westminster Abbey, the Queen's coffin was set on a black and white checkered floor. But it was an upside down cross, which is highly satanic in their world.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird. But what gets me is when you see the police in these videos and that.
The thing about it is.
Sorry, you okay? No, his internet's going a bit funny again, I think.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, mate. I didn't mean to cut across you, but what I was going to say is, when you see police, you very rarely see police now. But when you see them in these videos and that, once upon a time, putting it bluntly, you had to be built like a brick-built shithouse to get into the police. You had to be over 6 foot, burly sort of bloke. Yeah. But you see these little weedy fellas coming along. They're about 5'2". I've got nothing against small people. I'm short. I'm 5'7". But you see about 5'2", 5'4". That's like, hello. They look as if they're going to a bit like oh dear. Oh, I'm a policeman. Can you do that, please? But they've got all this, but they've got no. It's full of bullshit. But it's play acting. That's all it is. Because
no, you're quite right.
That's all they are. It is fancy dress costume, and really, policing. I suppose if you go back to the peelers, they used to actually wear a top hat and towels, and the reason why is they were servants to the community. That's the reason why they were dressed like waiters. Yeah. They were servants. That's gone. They're no longer servants.
And they're under common law and not under legal ease or admiralty law.
Right.
That's correct.
We will start getting a lot more pushback though, because they're asked to do an increasing amount of very nefarious, dodgy things, and there'll come a point where I cite this a lot. There's a biography I read about Miles Davis by the great trumpeter who's gone now, English trumpeter Ian Carr. He wrote this biography about Miles Davis, and one of the quotes in it was that you can get tired of anything eventually, even of being scared, he said. Now, I think people will be tired of being scared, and they'll just say, enough is enough. You've poked me and prodded me enough. You've taken money off me. You've taken food out of my children's mouth. You've attempted to kill them by jabbing them with all that nonsense, yeah? So I've had enough of this now. I don't care what happens to me now. I am fighting back. I'm saying no. In effect, I am Spartacus, And once you get that, I think you need a few brave people to actually stump up and say, listen, you can do an Offman's, you can, right? I've worked hard to have what I have, my car, my house, food to put in my children's mouth, roof over my head, or whatever it is. And you're not taking that away from me. You are going to have to fight me for it. This is my castle. And once your next door neighbor does that, this unlikely little grey man that goes to work on the tube.
Oh, he's cut out again, I think. Still there? You still there, Paul?
I'm here.
Yeah, I think Robert's internet's gone down again. Oh, it's a shame. It's just mid-sentence as well. Oh, bugger. I don't know what's going on. It's a shame.
With the police, I had an issue I had some jobs worth at Manchester Piccadilly station a few months ago, where I'd got my foot about toe length across the yellow line down the platform, and the announcement came over about
yellow line.
But even though Manchester Piccadilly is a terminus station, so I'm not sure if that train comes at 125 miles an hour, I'm not sure what that yellow line's going to do, quite frankly. And this copper, he said, he said that announcement includes you, but there was people further down the platform who were stood right on the end. So I went back to him and said, was that just aimed at me then? I said, because there's people down there who stood right on the very edge of the platform. I said, I'm not saying anything to them. Well, it's not one rule for me and one rule for everybody else, then, is it? And he didn't know what to say. It's job's worth.
They're just like throwing their weight around.
Yeah, they
I
give
mean,
him a
let's
fancy
face
dress
it.
costume.
Yeah.
Could you do a job like that? Seriously though, could you do a job like I couldn't? I just couldn't do it. I mean, it must have some ego. I just don't get it.
I actually want to be liked by people.
Yeah. Well,
I think
the thing is,
I probably could if it was a community-based, where you're policing the local community. The local community know you, you know them, and which is what it used to be, isn't it? That was how the Bobby on the beat used to be.
well, he used to know everybody. He was the friend, and in my attitude, they were there to catch criminals. And as you said, common law, injury, loss or harm, full stop, end of.
Yeah.
He wasn't there to write out a speeding ticket or something like that. No.
And they would live in the community as well. They would live in the community. They wouldn't live in the wilds of Essex or Kent or a community. And they would live in the community. Sometimes you even knew where these coppers lived.
Oh, it's police houses, weren't there? Yeah.
There were plenty.
Yeah.
The police that had their own houses and flats, and there wasn't any pushback. We had a local Bobby when I was living back in my hometown in Birmingham. Bob the cop, we used to call it, and he used to patrol. He used to patrol all around when we lived when we were kids, and eventually ended up patrolling, I believe, the Edgbaston shopping centre. And I worked in a menswear shop there, and he used to sort of twinkle around tea or whatever else, and it was just a nice kind of feeling of things, because even if you were up to no good, even if you were a bloody proper criminal, you had respect for that guy, and you wouldn't get up to any sort of jiggery pokery or shenanigan whilst he was in earshot or whilst he was around. You might wait till he left and then go and do something, but for the most part, these people were respected. Paul was right. For the most part, the police were respected. And now they're the enemy now. They're the enemy of us.
And also, the police seem to only be interested in helping other corporations. So, for example, if you've got, I don't know, somebody shoplifting from JB Sports, and the police call, they turn up straight away. But if you've got somebody breaking into your house, they don't want to know. And it's so because the police are now a corporation and not whatever they're supposed to be, they only want to look after other corporations, which rather than looking after the public, which is what we pay our council tax for, apparently.
Paul, but don't you think they're now obviously corporate entities rather than I mean, was it not ever thus? I mean, were they always a servant? Because they always had those checkered bands on the cars and on their hats and their cap badges. So weren't they? I mean, is it just the veil dropping now, or the veil being lifted, and we're seeing behind the curtain, and we're seeing Oz for the first time, if you like?
I think personally, it's down to.
I mean, weren't they always that way?
I think it's down to governments changing policies and laws, and every time there's a major news article that comes out to distract the masses, they change the law to suit whatever they want, whatever agenda they're trying to bring in. So I don't know if it's as the years have gone by, they changed the laws. So what the police were really there for originally isn't what they're there for now, which is, I suppose, blatantly obvious, I suppose, these days.
Well, let's face it, though. When you look at the police, when you look at what's in government, has any of them, excuse my language, got off their fat arse and done a day's work? Because it'd kill them, I think. I mean, they've gone straight out of school, straight into university, and then straight into politics.
Well, let's be honest. During 2020, the police were protecting criminals, should we say? Yeah.
They're going up to people because I think they get a bonus of how many arrests they do. Sorry, Robert, you was going to say. Sorry.
They were doing some hateful things. I mean, dragging women off of benches down in Hyde Park, and you're not supposed to be there. Fair enough. Outside of Downing Street, it's a high security area. I get it, but dragging people along the floor like they were an old piece of cloth. That's disgusting. That is. And then you had the white-haired warrior Desmond Swayne, or Sir Desmond Swayne, that Muppet. You had him sort of fist, sort of in a very kind of artificial way at the opposition bench, or is his own party, and basically he was literally a bone that was thrown to us. And then you've got Andrew Bridgen as well, that was apparently thrown to the wolves, but I don't think he's starving to death, is he? Let's face it. Now, also, one of the things I wanted to kind of touch upon, I sent you a quick list, Chris.
Yes, it's actually if you look in the comments that we have between us, I've actually put it there. So,
okay.
Can you see it?
Well, you had the Greg Wallace, yeah. You had the Greg Wallace incident where, I mean, I only sort of caught the ends of it, and one of my friends from Stand in the Park, Jax, very kindly sent me this little video of him saying, I'm going to expose this, that, and the other. And then also, all of a sudden, he's put up for a mock crucifixion. The guy that was on the cooking program.
Yeah,
no, I don't have to tell you. I don't know.
Master Chef.
That's the one. Now, he's been thrown to the wolves, but it could be argued that they're eating their own in that. I mean, what do you think of that, Paul?
Well, I went to a truther thing a couple of months ago now up in Derbyshire. Are you both there? Yeah. And Andrew Bridgen was there, and he came across as very legit.
Right.
And in that he was explaining about what had gone on, that he was going to spill the beans, and apparently somebody very high in number 10 came to him and said, he said, what can we do? What can we get you to do to not speak out? And he said, I want the Prime Minister's resignation letter. And he said, well, that's not going to happen. He said, well, I'm going to speak out then. And he seemed very genuine and very legit on what he was saying. I found it very hard to believe that he could be, when he's in front of like 200, 300 people, he could hide behind what he was saying. You know what I mean?
But then there's a saying, the very wanting to be a politician is good enough reason not to be one.
Precisely, yeah. That was I would counter that with you, Paul. I would say, who would want to do that? And when you consider the benefits that these MPs get, if you serve for an amount of time, I think you have to serve 2 terms as an MP, and apparently you get that your pension is sorted for life. You get an MP's pension whether you go back for your 3rd term or not. Now, this is probably why these people keep doing that. It's let alone being a cabinet minister. If you're fortunate enough to be Chancellor of the Exchequer, Environment Secretary, or whatever it might be, you get that salary and pension for the rest of your life. It's not just the Prime Minister. I discovered that the other day.
But then I suppose if you look at a lot of the...
Say again?
If you look at a lot of the MPs, like, for example, Matt Hancock, who resigned but then turned upon various TV shows, which I think that sort of says quite a lot about, we've sacked you, even though he wasn't sacked, he was removed. Excuse me. And but then on the back of that, I mean, if you or I if one of us did something bad in our job and got sacked, we probably then want to go and apply to the BBC and say, can we come and do news at 10 for you or something like that? It's
politics.
Yeah.
Politics is show business for ugly people. Basically, isn't it? Really? Yeah, I mean, they are showmen. That's all they are. I mean, as I was saying the other week, if you're say at a party and there's a plumber there, you might say, "Oh, excuse me, I've got a bit of problem with my taps" or something like that. So if there's a politician there, do you say, "Excuse me, could you come and lie for me, please? I need a good lie, a good alibi or something." And oh yes, I'll hire out my services, to lie out my back teeth. But that's right. Stephen Truthseeker says they often do multi-agendas on different level on the same date. Yes, they do. And Paul Mohammed said They are all actors, yes. And act is to keep you in a state of illusion. Spot on. They even use rubber suits. Highest maxim in law is let those be deceived who allow themselves to be. Yes. And part of their belief is they've got to tell you what nasty things are going to do to you. Louise says every politician is easily bought and sold. Their lack of morality makes it easy. That's right.
I agree with that, Louise.
Winston Churchill, Stephen Truthseeker says, Winston Churchill, part of the aristocratic bloodline. Yes, he was. Yes, and apparently, that's right. And his mummy, was, shall we say, a martini girl. Anytime, any place, anywhere, allegedly. And they reckon that his official father wasn't his father, but that's another thing. David Lammy is a full retard. Yes, I'll go along with that. And Stephen Truthseeker said, people are brainwashed into voting for them. Yes, I don't vote for them. I don't vote for any of them.
No, not me.
And I mean, I like David Curtin. He's a very nice man. He won't get anywhere because he's a very nice man. It's not like the rest of them. It's all by design. By doing what you do, you help them create the hysteria. Spot on there, Paul Mohammed. Then we got yes, we got a nice one there from was it Asperger's as fudge? That's a good idea. And I watched the audits. Lots of foreign police now, yes, who can't speak English very well. I've noticed the black cube of Saturn. That's Asperger's as fudge. Paul Mohammed said, stupid does what it does. The word stupid in the dictionary means to not know everything well. Do you know everything? Well, poor old Robert's gone again. Oh, it's a shame. Now, I read this one out before about police only getting 6 months training. And then we got Malene Kenna. I'm terribly sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. And Malene, I'm terribly sorry. And 7. True number of the beast, apparently. So Louise Wilcox says 7. Stephen Truthseeker says the black cube of Saturn worship. And Malene says, Louise, yes, 7 times they walk around. That's it. Was it around Mecca?
Okay.
And it was who's that great inventor whose name goes on to electric cars now? Come on,
Tesla.
Come on, bro. Tesla. Thanks, mate. Tesla. He had strange things he did. He sort of went round blocks so many times and all kinds of weird things like that. I see the ring of Saturn everywhere. Stephen Truthseeker.
It's on a lot of products and cars, like Toyota's logo, for example.
Yes.
Even down, if you've got a local bus company, Arriva, their logo is 3 of those, 3 Saturn rings, basically. It's everywhere.
Saturn
even down
returns.
Down to if you've got your computer on the Internet Explorer, the Google Chrome is 666, for example. That's the 666 logo.
Well, Hereditary Skepfox says Saturn returns. And we've got Stephen Truthseeker says the crucifix is a cube.
Yeah.
Is it?
If you fold it down, yes.
Was there? And Paul Mohammed says, Eric, I have a point. It is coming. Is it really? And yes, UN police force. Yes, that's what I think they're getting. And this is why I said, yes, Chris, our own army men will not want to kill and maim their own brothers or women and children, but other cultures will not be so sentimental. That's right. That's right. And I think that's what it's all about.
Am I allowed to mention the things that follow aeroplanes in the sky?
Yes, why not? That's like these, yes, trails, shall we say?
Trails, yes.
Yes, trails.
Because obviously we don't know who's it that's doing those. Are they local people, should we say, or paid from elsewhere?
Well, the last couple of mornings, it started off beautiful sky with chemtrails here, there, and everywhere. Oops, sorry, I mentioned it everywhere. See, I made a slip. And by about lunchtime, along comes the clouds, and it's all overcast.
And do you notice how low the clouds are as well? Sometimes they look that low. You could jump and grab one of them.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And whiter than white, greyer than grey. You know. Now, was it Robert Dorr? The check is in the post. Laugh out loud. John Hamer will tell you. Yes, he was on the show last night on my Rumble channel. Now, Louise Wilcox says the black and white checkers were created by a Freemason, and their surname started with an S. I won't name them on here, but you can research it. White checkers were created. Surname beginning. So is it surname started with S? Interesting. I would have thought it would have been R, but anyway. Tinternet problems. Yes, I call it the effing internet problems. Poor old Robert. It's the gremlins. That's right. Yes. You used to have to be 6 foot to be a policeman. That's right. And as I said, built like a brick built shit house.
That's interesting. That's 3 plus 3. 33.
Yes. I was an army dreamer. Was you really hereditary to get fucked? They inscribe. This is right. The police now. Stephen Truth Seeker. They employ scruffy gets now. Yes, they do. Yes, that's spot on.
Well, the thing is, we were talking about the people coming across. We think of NATO soldiers and so on. If they're fleeing war zones, would those boats, should we say, be full of women and children and not men of fighting age? Unless these men of fighting age are all cowards, leave the women and children behind and escape themselves.
And well dressed with smartphones, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Now, Louise Wilcox says, "Hereditors get fucked." Many join in the belief they fight for their people. This is the army, I think. When in fact they fight for the master's bidding. A true heart is full of good intentions. Also, many people join the forces because of poverty, because they get a good meal and they get a bed and they get lodgings, and and high unemployment, boosts army recruiting.
Aren't a lot of army barracks in poorer locations or within? I mean, like locally where I am, we've got there's quite a number within the area where I live, and it's not the wealthiest. Let's put it that way.
And I know that army recruiting offices in the 1930s were opened up in Southern Ireland, around the poorest area for the British Army. So even though Ireland was independent, they had army recruiting offices in Southern Ireland to recruit the poor. Because they were so desperately poor, they needed food. And if you had a big family, being Catholic, they might have 6 or 7 children to feed. That was a way of unloading a burden. You'd have less people to feed.
And then they invented television.
That's right. That's right. Yes, Hereditary Get Fucked said now they will take you if you've got 6 toes or 6 IQ. That's right. If you can stand up, you can go in. Now it says here, they want to microchip manage every aspect of life. And Robert's back. Hello, Robert.
Hello, folks. Sorry about this. It's
not your fault. We've been trying to do a healing message for your internet, saying, come on, internet, work,
We're going to send you a 50p for the meter.
That's right. Now, Six Blade, I think I know who this is. By the way, mate, with YouTube, if this was radio, we can get sort of 11, we can get several people on. But as this is YouTube, you can only get about 3 on. So don't feel left out. Every human cell has 23 pairs of chromosomes. It takes 23 seconds for blood to circulate the body. I didn't know that. Average human biorhythm. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's quick, isn't it? Really? 23 seconds. God. The average human biorhythm is 23 days. The pentagram is a representation of the human form, 2 and 3. I didn't know it took 23 seconds. And Phil Howard says a country we're not allowed to criticise is helping Western police forces restructure as parliamentary organisations. What do the country we're not? That's right. What do the country we're not allowed to criticise teach Western police forces? Something socialist group webpage. Yes.
Right.
I can't read the last bit out, mate. Yeah, I hope you'll understand. But
Interesting.
that's interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Police. Louis Wilcox says police picking on low-income community elements.
Couldn't agree
That's a
more.
good one. Yes, picking on low-income community elements. Yes, that's a
And
good
they
one.
protect the people they should be dealing with.
Very, very good, Louise. Well done.
I like that. And Elf Wave. I like Elf Wave. That's a good name. It was meant to be a temporary role of butchers, bankers, and candlestick makers. Yes, well, income tax was temporary, wasn't it, for the Napoleonic Wars, to pay for it. And they thought, well, that's a bloody good idea, so they kept it. And then we got...
Yeah.
We need our local butchers, bakers, and so on back.
Yes,
in
yes.
place of these mass supermarkets and so on.
But you're a
Stephen
great
Truth
advocate
Seeker.
of the farm shop, aren't you, Paul?
Yes.
I am. I use a local farm shop in Shropshire here. Every week, go down and use
Right,
them.
is that where you are, Shropshire?
Yeah.
Nice part of the world.
Salop. What? It's right. Why do they call Shropshire salop? You know, when you put those abbreviations, they salop. Sometimes somebody put in your salad. I want a salop with me lettuce. You know. Stephen Truth Seeker said, "Well, it's like where I am. It's hurts. That's awful. Oh, it hurts. It's like sort of lancing a boil. It hurts." Well, I've said what people need to do en masse. Stop paying taxes. Spot on, Stephen Truth Seeker.
Absolutely right, Stephen. Absolutely right. I've said this until I've gone green. It's that's the most effective way to actually to affect change. But the problem is the people that are paid PAYE, their employers are co-opted by the government, so it's taken at source. You can't write to your employee and say, actually, I'd like you to withhold my income tax, please, because I believe our government to be in breach of the Prevention of Terrorism Act, for one thing.
That's right.
I don't think your employers would wear it.
Well, this is the real problem. But the thing is, what they do, they pick out. I mean, look what's happened to Richard D. Hall. They picked him out to prevent other people becoming investigative journalists, because what he did was journalism. Journalism is to investigate and question and ask more questions. And a good journalist is a thorn in the side of the establishment. That is a good journalist. A yes man isn't a journalist. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll report what you tell me. You know.
Well, we had that during 2020, didn't we? Where a certain narrative was constantly being put out there, but any alternative or anything that was questioned was ignored.
Yeah.
You know what I'm on about.
I know what you mean. The Divock 91.
Yes,
right, backselling
yeah,
there. The police force, Louise Wilcox says, hello again, Louise. She says, the police force was started to make the people believe they were needed. They have always been corrupt because they come from corrupted foundations.
Is it fair to say that we only need a police force and government, etc., whilst we're in this system? Because if we're all living free, there would be no crime.
I agree with
you. We'd all be equal in the eyes of the law, wouldn't we?
And also, we'd all be where we want to be.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, most people are where they are because of economics.
Yeah.
And and that's it. We are where we are because of economics. I mean, Elf Wave, drones are messing with net reliability these days. And we got here Arsburgers as fudge. No, Greg Wallace. Really? I think I don't know about that one. Greg Wallace. Who's Greg Wallace? Harvey number 1 says Bridgen is a wrong 'un. Vacuum cleaner damaged by 1 week. Following week, he was the name for some famous fireworks. Yes, interesting. Yes.
Ross Robert again.
Ross Robert, yes. Bridgen is a... See you next Tuesday. He raised... What's the issues? Sorry, Harvey, number 1. I have to say this in code because we're actually on YouTube. After there were clearly no takers. when the people need a hero. Yes. What I've found with politicians, they just jump on a bandwagon. And it doesn't matter what bandwagon. It could be against what they believe. There's no morality. They just jump on a bandwagon. That's it. Reference Six Blade. Reference tax government. What's this? Gubernator mentis. Mind control. All forms of government cause harm, therefore are morally illegitimate and oppose laws of God. Correct. Steve says, Bridgen is suspect. In separate interviews, he gave different names in which he took. In one, he had 2. In the other, he had 2. Hey, not something I would expect from him. From him, I think that means of him. Of him. Yes. Again, Steve, I'm sorry I've had to do this in a sort of a YouTube censorship fashion, shall we say? I can't
freedom of speech, as it were.
Yes. It's all part of pop culture. Yes. Six Blade says soldier equals soul dead, corporal, corpse, sergeant, servant. 1, 2, and 3 Masonic chevrons. Rank markings, yes.
Oh, interesting.
And we've got to have a long chat about programming because there's some vacancies coming up, mate. So here we go. And we got police officers will get a full pension after 30 years. So if they start at 20, they retire on a good pension at 50. Yet us slaves continue for over 20 years more. I agree with you.
And we still pay for their pension.
That's it.
Taxes.
We still pay for it. Stephen Truseeker, because it's Phil Howard, said, plus it's lawful and legal. And the reason why they want us all on digital currency. Once that happens, it's game over. And, oh my God, he's back. Hey, hello, mate. Hi, Paul. So good to hear you.
Good evening, Melaine.
And you must know Melaine.
I do.
I hope I pronounce her surname correctly. But if I haven't, please don't take offence. Take a gate, but don't take offence. As Robert says, all MPs should be viewed with great suspicion. Yes, correct. I was going to mention the buses symbolism. Yeah. You beat him to it, you know. And where are we? We got here. It's all conditioning. Was it condensation, Paul?
Condensation.
Yes. Why our sky was bright pink yesterday, but where the cloud was gone, the sky behind was a clear blue.
See, years gone by, you'd have days and weeks of clear blue. You'd have frosty mornings, and it'd be clear blue skies throughout the day, sunshine. Even if the sun was low, it might not get very warm, but we'd have weeks of that. And now we had a few sunny spells on Saturday for the first time in months.
I know, and it's only for about a morning, wasn't it? And then today we had, you know, that's it, kind of that. And it says here, was it? Liverpool is the second most common place for military sign-ups. Yes, it's most poverty, isn't it? Stephen Truseeker. And it says here, Elf Wave, that's right, 23. And Nathan Lasire says, hi Chris, guests and chat. Hope all is well. Apologies for lateness. Had stuff to do. Detention, please. No, we'll send a young lady round in twangers to give you a damn good thrashing, you know, for that.
It'll be late next week as well, now.
It'll be late next we got here. Cash converters is now the best replacement outlet for your organic chickens. This is helpful. Hang on. Cash converters is now the best replacement outlet for your organic chicken. Am I a bit thick, or don't I get that one? No, don't. Do you get it? Anybody?
No.
Robert,
sorry.
Do you get it? I don't get it either. Excuse me if I'm a bit thick. No.
It sounds like an incomplete thought to me.
Yes, it sounds like he's been on the magic mushrooms again. Now, over to you, Robert. Is there anything we can do for your internet that like giving it a swift kick up the arse? Or
I mean, it's not as if I don't pay a bloody fortune for the damn thing, so I have
really?
no idea. I mean, you see, I think this is my Vodafone feed actually. I've just signed up to EE for a separate SIM chip for my router, which I'm not using yet, by the way, which I think I might have to start doing that.
I use a SIM router.
Normally, mind you, it could be, and this might be me being paranoid, it might be a gentle way of shadow banning somebody by buggering up their internet. Maybe.
I think you got a point. Yes. I think you got a very good point there because my internet, I mean, I use a SIM router. I got bloody fed up with the landline. I really did. And it was John Hamer that, thanks to him, he said, "Oh, why don't you get a SIM router?" And I went, "Hey, what?" And I looked into it. They were about 80 quid. I think they've gone up a bit now in Argos. And, but the only strange thing I find, when there's thick snow or torrential rain, I get a poor signal. But, you know, but it used to be terrible when I had a landline. People probably remember it going...
Physically, Chris, where do you place yours? Do you put it near an external wall? Is that what you do to get a better signal?
No, I just stick it on a shelf. It's there, and I move it around occasionally, get a better signal. But it seems to make bugger all difference where I put it. It's just sucky. But sometimes
you haven't got a shungite in your place, have you?
Yes, I have actually. Yes, it's next to it.
That could affect the use of it. Should we say any shungite will stop the.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
shungite.
It's whatever
brilliant.
the term. It's a very technical term. I can't think what it is off the top of my head at the moment.
Yes, it blocks the signals or whatever it is.
The radiation off of them.
Because I actually did an experiment with that, and it's still. I think I've still got it. I'll show where is it now? It's showing shungite. Where is it? And this was a live experiment that we did, and it's in a cafe. And if I can find it, I'll show it to you. So please bear with me a few moments.
Well, on the subject of shungite,
here it is.
I went to something in Shrewsbury where they were selling shungite. And I know it worked because it was the only place I couldn't get a signal on my phone.
Really? Well, here's the experiment.
How did it work for you?
Here's the experiment.
Take the shungite away. It goes up and down, doesn't it? It's variable, but it's pretty high. And I think you're pretty close to the shungite. Well, that's way over 1,000. Put it back.
Right, watch this. Shungite in front. 86, 04, 45 it went down to.
Yeah.
70.
Even like coming near to it.
Yeah. And that was shungite. And that was EMF. It was reading electromagnetic radiation. That.
Well, I noticed. I know we're talking a lot about trains when we're on it at times. I noticed that our new trains have now got screens on them to tell you whatever the next station is, and they're right above people's heads. And I need to check to see what the EMF reading is on those, whether people are being fried whilst they're on board.
That's interesting. Can you actually get internet connection on trains now? Because they never used to.
Yeah, they have the onboard free Wi-Fi. That's just to track where you are, I think, rather than so you can
probably
check on.
Apparently, Robert, you'll be able to answer this. Do you get free Wi-Fi on buses, or is that something a little bit too technical for London buses?
No, you do. You do get them on.
Coach, yeah, you can do, yeah. If it's a coach.
Yeah.
You do get them on the buses, but.
Because I know that Ireland was one of the most advanced countries for Wi-Fi, and you could get on any Irish train and you get the Wi-Fi. The only trouble is you probably could only get Wi-Fi in the coach. You couldn't get onto Google or anything. Oh yes, hello there. Oh, sorry.
The local operator.
One of the most compliant.
Well, the local operator in Birmingham, National Express, they've definitely got Wi-Fi on theirs, and I don't know how vast the Wi-Fi is on board, but for example, some of the Galton Bridge station is quite a distance from the nearest road, but the bus will pull up across the top, and my phone will pick up the signal on that bus, and even though it's quite some distance away.
That's interesting. Nathan, this is from Six Blade. Can you plug our presentation in Newcastle on the 24th of January? Laugh out loud. Yes, why not? And by the way, mate, I think this is Survival Steve. I'm pretty sure it's Survival Steve. So I'll send the latest guest list, same with everybody, through, and we can sort of work out future shows and that. And do you get the... I think I send one through to you, don't I, Robert? Guest lists and that. So, and by the way, Robert's kindly given me 2 future guests that I haven't phoned yet, and the reason why I've been up to here with work, but I hope to get.
It's actually 3.
3. I'm sorry, mate.
Need as well.
Smack wrists. Do you think you're going to send the lady around to give me the spanking, please? But no, I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it, and I will be getting in touch with them, so we can have some free. Well, if they want to come on, free future guests. Thanks to Robert. So there we go.
I mean, they're all.
Oh dear, we're gone.
They're all super knowledgeable guys as well.
So fantastic, and this will be for obviously for next year because we've only got about 1 week I think left in this year, haven't we? Yes.
Is it 2 weeks? This, yeah,
hang on,
2 weeks.
Quick look. Oh, we've got 2 weeks.
2 weeks, 22nd and 28th, something like that.
28th. 29th, there's a Sunday, and the 30th. Yes, we have got 2 weeks. So they might come into this year, you never know. And there's a message for you here, Robert. It says here, Robert, good luck with them. Although my understanding is that they all use the same gear. A bit like gas suppliers, it's all the same gas. What I found out from my neighbour who sadly passed away, he was in he was high up in BT, and when I was having trouble getting connections and that, he said the reason you're getting problems is what they do. They try and get as many feeds down one cable as possible. So it's pot luck. So if you're first one on, you're going to get a good line. If you're last one on, you're going to get a crap line. And so that's one of the deciding factors why I went over to the SIM router, you know. Now it says here, about 15 minutes ago, something tried to close down this app on my device. Now, Hereditous Getzvok says 24125. Any ideas?
That's a locomotive number in my world.
January 25.
Could be. And we got here, Elfwave is a cryptic space chicken. Is he really? Now, Nathan the Sire says, you just did that laugh out loud. Hiya, Steve. Yes, Steve, and I have a full evening of presentations, Gosforth, 24th of January. Ask for details. Both talks are occult themed. So there we are. So you're up in Gosforth. You'll see Survival Steve and Nathan Lucius up there. So there we are. Now, Stephen Truthseeker says, I've got shungite. Yeah, I think you can get ointment to take it away, actually, can't you? I think my granny had that. So, and apparently you can get it from Russia. So with this problem with Russia at the moment, you know, but it gets fake stuff from China, who knows, or wherever. Funny thing is, we always blame the Chinese for rip-offs and fakes, but the Indians are pretty good at it as well. You know, they do a little, but quite legal forgeries, like that pocket watch I've got of the 1936 Berlin Olympics, which is a modern fake. And it's a very good one as well, but they don't hide the fact that it is a fake. They do hide the... Yeah. Sorry?
The old Morris Oxford, if you remember that. They bought
yes.
The patents and the patents of Morris Oxford. And
Yes.
that's the only place you can get spares for one now. And G
Really?
as well. Yeah,
Was it that
they still manufacture those.
Oh,
Was it
yeah, it's
that
called the Ambassador.
Was it that part of the world that took on the Montego or the Maestro as well? They were still making them.
Iran, I think. I think it's Iran was Maestro. I think because
Yeah,
I
still
know
some
that. I think that Brazil still make VW Beetles, and I know was it Sri Lanka?
Beatles, in Brazil,
We can get parts for the Morris 1000 still. I think they still make parts. I don't think they make the Morris 1000, but I think they make parts for it. It's amazing what you pick up. I'll tell you something. I've got 2 primer stoves that are really old. They must be. I think they're pre-World War II, and I inherited them. And where you pump them up, the leather was getting a bit knackered. There's one place in the world you can buy the little washers from, and that's a place in Turkey. And it was brilliant. I sent it off to them, and it was all in English, perfect English, came through, and in record time. I was really impressed. So, that's where I got them from. Now, apparently, putting your router near an exterior wall allows some of the signal to seep through the wall. Wasted signal. Not sure on it. It's just something I was told. Yeah, but if it comes through a telephone line, I think it's a bit different. My one's a SIM router, so I have to have it near a window or something like that. Now, Nathan Lucius says, exactly, things could be better, being honest, but regardless, book launch has been all right. By the way, plug. There's the mug, you see. And here's the excellent book that Nathan has actually written. There we are. Whoops. There we go. It's pixelated out. And by the way, if anybody thinks I live in this really posh, swanky place, green screen behind me, but it's not green. That's the trouble. That's why it keeps going a bit funny. Book launch has been all right. Some good podcasts, interviews, sales are steady at present. Yes, they are. But well, at least they're selling. I wouldn't log into free Wi-Fi. Well, yeah, they know where you are, don't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But I've got a crappy old phone, which my neighbour gave to me, which is locked. But I can actually use it on the local supermarket's free Wi-Fi, so I use it down there. So I don't really give a shit what they do with the phone. So that's because I'm tight-fisted. You see.
The thing is, though, why would you need free Wi-Fi on a bus? I mean, potentially, if you're on a bus for 10 minutes, can people not actually just travel on a bus for 10 minutes, look out the window and see who's being mugged or whatever, and then just get back off? I mean, the local thing for me at the moment is people smoking or vaping on board public transport. That annoys the hell out of me. Yeah.
Is that allowed? I didn't know it's allowed.
No.
Is it?
No.
Heritage Get Fox said they will now listen to you, laddie, until it's too late. Yes, but no. Regarding free Wi-Fi, now I only did it as an experiment. I took this phone down there and logged on, and it worked. But quite honestly, I don't. My phone, I put it into one of these special bags because I don't want it next to my body.
A Faraday cage.
Faraday cage type thing. Or I just switch it off. So when I'm out, the phone's off, and only switch it on.
Yeah, mine's on airplane mode. It's on at the moment, but it's on airplane mode a lot of the time, and never ever charge it anywhere near the radiation level of when it's like, for example, when you go to sleep, if people charge their phones near the bed, put it in another room because it's the radiation on is vast. Really?
It's in front of me now charging. I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
And it says Stephen Truespeak, and unfortunately we've lost Robert again. Agreed. You have no idea what you are connecting to. Seems very unsecure and open to hacks, etc. I'll stick to mobile data when outdoors. Yes. The other reason I actually got this SIM router was I was very seriously, still I am considering buying a van and converting it, and sort of going away for about a weekend or spend some weeks away where I can keep in the back, So it's called stealth camper van. So people don't know, it looks like a builder's lorry, but van, but it's not. You're kipping in there, But now Louise Wilcox says, hopefully, she's saying to Nathan. Hopefully things get better for you. I know this world isn't the nicest at the moment, I think she means. I'm sure it gets better. Well, that's good. Then bless you. We need coin in. We need something in this climate. Yes, that's it. So you're back, Robert. Are you with us? No. Is his internet working? Come on, internet work. Come on, work. Here we go. Oh, blimey. That sounds a weird noise, wasn't it?
Is that a wolf in the background there?
It sounds like, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I think you need to kick up the arse, to be honest with you. What is it? Go and read the Riot Act. I mean, you're not in the middle of nowhere, are you? Oh, hang on, he's gone again.
Well, we were talking about the use of free Wi-Fi. Do you not think that's what the Oyster card and all these other free, all these tap in, tap out cards are used on public transport?
Yeah.
Therefore, to check where you are. Because if you pay with cash to a bus driver, that ticket's anonymous, and you can get off. You don't have to get off the stop you say. But with the Oyster card, you have to tap in and tap off, so they know exactly where you are at any given time.
Well, that's right. And
it's all about tracking where we are.
The thing with an Oyster card, when I was a kid, when we had telephone boxes, and an oyster, people didn't realise an oyster is when little sods from school used to go pick up the phone and spit in the mouthpiece. Little bastards, and that was called an oyster. So the other one is to put it where the earphone is, so earpieces to pick up. Hello, and that I hasten to. I never did such things. I was a good.
I guess it could be a lot worse.
Yes, the other one was to spit on cars on footbridges over roads, and you get 10 out of 10 for landing on an open top convertible. Okay, I never did it, but some horrible little sods used to.
Can you say it without laughing?
Yeah, tried to. And apparently, I don't know if it's all bragging, there was a bloke, real sort of high, in his an MGB sports car with his lady, very beautiful lady. They copped and got him spot on. Bong! Now, Nathan Desire says, thank you, very kind of you. I'm convinced the world is a simulation. Can I interest you in a signed copy of his book? That's it. And loads. Stephen Truth Seeker says, yes, loads of fake Indian organite as well. Yes, but no, I haven't got it with me at the moment. Now, you got a sale here where. You're not wrong. Yes, please. How do I get a copy? Well, here it is. It is the book. Look how thick it is. See? There's the book there. Look. Oh, hang on. It's. I'm being pixelated. Here it is. Fake Awake. Here we are. So now. Louise says, Fockham Hall is a swanky place, Chris. I know, it's good, isn't it? If only people knew the truth. Shall I give them the truth any minute now? What do you think? Yeah, let's give them the truth. And where are we? And here we are. Oh dear, we got the truth again. There it is. So where shall I be now? Shall I be somewhere else? Let's be in a newsroom, shall we? Or shall we be, I know where we'll be. We'll be at Waltham Abbey. That's it. That's what we'll be instead. There we are. But,
yeah, definitely not a newsroom. That's banned to be full of lies.
That's right. They need to keep, Louise Wilcox says, they need to keep the mind under control at all times, including on the bus. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And I only go out with my phone when I have an interview or appointment. That's Stephen Truth Seeker. Yes.
It's a hard thing to get rid of, isn't it? The smartphone, as much as.
Well, it dings, and you kind of look at it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you there.
No, carry on.
No, you're going to say, sorry.
I was saying that it's hard to believe that sort of only 20 years ago or 15 years ago there was no smartphones, and we managed perfectly fine. But it's when you go out without it, it's like you've left a limb behind. It's weird, isn't it? It's how
That's
how
right.
he's dependent on them, and
Well, Nathan Lysias or Lucius says, as Fockham Hall propaganda minister, you will love Fockham Hall and you will be happy. That's an order with a sinister smile. Ooh. And, by the way, Robert, what is your role in Fockham Hall now? You did because I think you're now. Can you hear us, Robert? I think you were.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was your role in Fockham Hall? You see, because we just had something from Lathan. He's the propaganda minister, and I just wonder what you were. I think you were spokesman for someone or something. What was it?
Well, Chris the Gardener is the Minister for Agriculture and Fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be the new media minister, you could call it.
Yes. New media without portfolio. Did you lose it, or have you still got your portfolio?
No, I'm actually sitting on it now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. As long as you don't break wind, we should be all right. Yeah. Where's this bloody portfolio stick she dodges you? Bloody hell! And he says he's turning into a lizard man. Am I? Oh dear. And then we got here. And we got here. We're also feeding AI with free Wi-Fi's. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And now it says buses in London don't take cash. Don't they? Miserable bastards.
And haven't done for years.
Really?
I drove a bus for a long time. I drove a bus when they were still taking cash.
Good heavens.
It was 113 from Edgware to it went to John Prince's Street.
Yeah.
In Oxford Circus back in the day. Where they changed the route slightly, but still principally the same.
Really? So
I do
don't
wonder
take
whether
cash at all.
I do wonder whether they can refuse whether cash can be if you got on board and offered to pay cash, whether they can refuse it. I wouldn't.
Apparently they can.
Because Bill of Exchange Act says that they shouldn't, but
I don't know. Now it says here, I think they can because it's a contract, isn't it? And you can you can back out of the contract if you want to. I could be wrong. Anybody knows better more than me? Please say. Well, Louis Wilcox answers Phil. He says yes, and also when they try to get us to talk to AI on telephone calls, I don't say a word to them, but they repeat everything 3 times. Of course, yes. Now, Stephen Truseeker says, does Fockham Hall have a zoo? Yes, we do have a zoo. It has a Boris the spider there, and what else does it have? Oh, Eric the pigeon comes down as well. And what do you think? We all have a zoo? Do you reckon we all have a zoo, Paul?
I think so. I was wondering whether we could have a rare species like a Keir Starmer section, where people get to throw bananas at him and things like that.
Yes, that would. We can have
Or other
politicians in
substances
there.
are available.
Yes, politicians. Do not feed the politicians.
Yeah, like we do at the moment.
That's right, yes. And we got here, Bath Screen 5 says, I have to say I can't wait for work tomorrow, 7/7, and it will be very meaningful. 7/7, no, tomorrow's 17th. Interesting. Then we got here, Steve
Francis'
says,
birthday tomorrow, by the way. So let's see what happens
is it really?
tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, I didn't send him a card. Mind you,
No,
he didn't
neither
send
did
me a
I.
card. Nah. 2 years ago, I was travelling with someone on Underground and had to buy their ticket from a machine. My tap-in price was £2.90. The ticket from the machine was £6.30. Same destination. Yep, rip-off. Absolute bleeding rip-off.
See, I think something else that we should stop as well is they should get rid of first class off trains, off mainline services, because I think sometimes you'll see trains and they're heaving in the standard class, and then the first class is all empty. Then we'll declass them.
You're right. I
think it's
Robert.
well,
We got Robert back. Hello, mate. I'm sorry about your internet connection.
I've changed phones and it seems to be quite punchy and strong with this one. So
this yes.
EA chip. So yeah.
Because before you was
Yeah.
It
It seems quite a bit
Yeah.
clearer. Sorry about that, but
No, look, it's not your fault, mate.
no,
Because
I should have done it earlier. To be honest with you, I've got too much faith in Vodafone. I think the advertising campaign got to me.
Groperphone, as I'll call it. But no, what I've found that, as I say, I'm pretty happy with sorry, they'll be on the. But no, I found with Vodafone and all that. I started off with them. I've been to nearly all of them, really. But I'm actually with. I've forgotten who I'm with now. But
Like a mobile.
no, Smarty. I'm in Smarty
Okay.
now, and I think they use 3. I could be wrong. I find them very good. I take them as I find them to be very, very good. I mean, well, truth is in the pudding. When you look here, I mean, I remember I did a show with Professor Moss.
Yeah.
She had a crap internet connection. Do you remember that? I had a crap internet connection.
I remember
and it
that,
was,
yeah.
and it was also I think wasn't you on there? I can't remember. It was all going. And it was like you got about one word in 5, right.
I bumped into Gloria a couple of Wednesdays ago at the Dick Dellingpole's Libertarian Drinks.
Yes.
Near Charing Cross, and we had a nice evening having a chat with Gloria. It was quite nice. Yeah,
How is
yeah.
she? I haven't seen her for a long time.
She's very well. She's battling Barnet Council, as are we all in one way or another. But
Good luck.
She's gone the direct route, the proper legal kick in the gonads. She's really done that, and so she seems to be have the bit between her teeth, and she's quite a formidable lady. She's got quite a big brain, that lady. So I don't fancy their chances. But I think we've all got to do it in some way. We've all got to do it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we can't just sit on the side and say, well, what can you do, kind of thing. I mean, I've one of the things I wanted to cover today, it's probably too late, is the way we can only really justify ourselves by an app or presence on an app or by social media. Throwing your hands up in the air and saying, well, what are you going to do isn't going to do anything. It's going to put us further back than where we are now. So somebody has to kind of take a hit. Somebody has to take a bit of a punch in the mush to start with. Like people like Richard D. Hall, whether you agree with what he does or not, he's taken one for the team big time. I mean, they're trying to bankrupt him.
Well, that was 300,000. I mean, who's got 300,000?
Precisely. I mean, maybe he can raise that. I'm not sure. But the point is, he shouldn't have to be paying that. He wasn't allowed legal aid. Not that he probably pursued that. But the whole point is that he wasn't even allowed to present evidence. And this goes to prove how railroaded he was. And this is this black cube. Paul spoke about it earlier on, about the black cube, and Stephen the Truth Seeker about the black cube of Saturn. If you look at the mortarboard of graduates,
teachers,
and graduates, they've all got the mortarboard on, and it represents, I'm sure, the black cube. Barristers have got a square on the back of their gown that represents.
Really?
Yes, I found that out the other day because I went to a place called Stanley Lee, it's called, and it's a legal outfit. But I had a credit note for there for some reason. I went and got a tie, and I was looking at the gowns that they had. Another one is Eden Ravenscroft, and they supply wigs and tunic shirts for barristers and things like that, and all that kind of malarkey. And they have that on the back of these gowns.
How strange.
Interesting.
That's me. I know that the judges wear black because they represent the dead, because courts can't deal with living men and women. But do we know why they wear?
Barristers wear it as well. King's Counsel.
Do we know why judges wear the grey, white, pinky, whatever colour it is, wigs? Do we know what that represents?
No, I don't know what it represents. No.
Well, the judges' wigs are slightly different. Now, I think if you're a magistrate, Crown Court, it's different to. I can't remember. They are different. The wigs are, for some reason. I can't remember quite which one. But there are judges that wear the short form wig, which is very odd. But do you remember back in the day when you used to see movies where they'd pronounce the death sentence? They put the black cube on
Black
their
handkerchief.
head.
Yes, right. Black
Yeah,
handkerchief.
the black
Yeah.
square on their head to pronounce that. But it's interesting you say that, Paul, that they represent the dead, because they are all dressed in black.
Yeah.
All of them.
It's also the admiralty law, isn't it? The law of the sea.
Headmasters
Yeah,
as well.
all that kind of stuff.
If you're standing in court, you're standing in a dock like a ship stands in a dock.
That's it. Yeah, and you're
It's also the admiralty law.
Yeah.
See, if I was a judge, I'd want to wear a B.A. Baracus mohawk wig.
Can you imagine a mohawk wig? That would be interesting. I think, but more and more people are going to realize that things like summonses are an invite. It's not a 3-line whip. You don't have to go. They might come and haul you out of your house, but I think that more and more people are going to stand up for that. I take it. I take what some people say about, meddling in things like common law and then getting yourself into trouble. There is that, but there will always be those people that don't read and that don't do the research for themselves and rely on what X, Y, or Z have said and take that to court. You can't do that. You can't do that. You actually have to do the hard miles. And it is, I wouldn't say boring, it's quite interesting, but it's hard work. And this is why you have to learn another language, essentially, because to me, that's what lawyers are. They're linguists with reference.
It's a different language altogether, isn't it?
They are linguists. Now, I might be oversimplifying it, but I've got very, very little respect for the legal mechanism. I no longer call them the profession, because they forfeit the right. When you, excuse my language, but when you fuck people over out of their houses and out of their property, you forfeit the right to be called a profession. And it's exactly the same with the medical industry. It is an industry now. They are drug pushers, and they are the creatures of big pharma now. During the sort of the 91 Divot nonsense, it didn't take much for a learned doctor to turn around to an MP that could barely stick an elastoplast on his hand or her hand and say, actually, what do you know about medicine, really? Why are you telling us? Why are you dictating to us what's happening? Let us make the decision. Let us find out what you want us to inject into our patients. But they couldn't care.
Watch out, we're on YouTube.
Well, that's fine. But they wanted the 15 quid for the. They wanted the 15 quid each for those, and perhaps they'll meet their maker. Perhaps they'll be
all money in it.
Honestly, yeah. Perhaps when they meet their maker and they go for the day of judgment, if you believe in that stuff, maybe they'll be being to go down to the hot place. You never know.
That's why they're terrified of death. Seriously.
Well, one of the things I was going to say on that was, I said earlier on about my mum and dad have been in and out of hospital.
Yeah.
But hospitals aren't there to help people get better.
Of course not.
They bring food around that's just processed crap. Is the best description. It's a white walls. No, like if they're playing high vibration music and vegetables and fruits to help people get better, then you could see, well, yes, there is some purpose of being in hospital because they want you to get better. But for me, I think that hospitals are, for the most part, are there to make you more ill.
I agree.
I 100% agree. Your path out of this realm. I can't prove it, but I have it. I'm pretty good anecdotal sort of knowledge that one of my very, very dear family members recently was basically pushed out of the door, as it were, whilst at hospital, and they died in there. Yeah. And it's happened to more than one person that I've spoken to. I listen to the Sheep Farm Boys on a regular basis, and I listen to Nathan Lucius plugging his book on there, and the one that he did before that. But Dominic often mentions the fact that he's spoken to X, Y, or Z, and they send him a text. I couldn't speak to you because I was having a heart episode, and then he'll learn of somebody else that's popped their clogs, because they've taken a helping of the devil's jizz, which into their veins, and it's still happening. I mean, I was listening to. Don't know if you're familiar with The Sopranos, the crime drama series on HBO. It's about 20 years ago now. One of the characters in it, the lady, the actress that played the Adriana Lacerda thing, Drea Di Matteo, was talking on a podcast today, Michael Francis, and she was completely against the jab and all that nonsense, and she cancelled herself in Hollywood. She's not getting any work now, so she's having to resort to. She opened an OnlyFans page. Now, she's actually said she wants to open a podcast on OnlyFans because it won't be censored. Because OnlyFans, there's a whole load of naughty stuff that goes on there. So she's being criticized for that. And I don't think people are looking at the subtext of what she's doing. Fine, if she's wearing a bra and knickers in one of her photographs, or whatever she does, if she's getting a message out that is positive, who cares? And she's taken a lot of brickbats, a lot of criticism. There's a lot of cast members that I'm sure don't speak to her, because there's nobody more co-opted than the entertainment industry.
Oh, crumbs. You've only got to look at Lady Gaga. Look at Lady Gaga.
Precisely.
Some people say it's a bloke. I don't know. I wouldn't know. But have you seen her videos are flashing from one thing to another? So it's working on your subconscious.
Of course. Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, what? Because your main consciousness cannot actually absorb fully what she's doing, or he's doing, or whatever it is it's doing. But what's getting me is that they are. I believe they're just trying to create confusion, division, stress, unhappiness, just the negativity of everything.
Well, stress and fear help with control of the population, don't they?
Right.
If you're in fear, you're easily controlled.
Absolutely.
Well, frightened to upset people. Why can't you say what you think? If I say something that someone don't like, well, they can tell me they don't like it, and tough. We've all got people have said things to me that I don't like, but I haven't sort of gone, I'm going to go to the police about that. No, that's part of life. That's what life's about. Because if someone's talking a load of crap, I want to look at that.
Of course.
I mean, this is what gets me with this censorship. Someone's talking a load of crap. I want to hear what they've got to say, and then say, well, it's a load of crap. But I mean, the latest load of crap, and it is a load of crap, and I think it's come from a government agency, is that World War I and World War II never happened, and it was they just used loudspeakers. Bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. Someone's coming around and saying that. There's a bloke in America saying that. Well, I think my dad would have something to say about that, and I think a few of our dads would have something to say about that, and our parents or grandparents and people everybody in the world had something happen with World War II. It doesn't matter how remote you were, World War II would have affected you. So that crap that it was just loudspeakers but I actually think that's a government psyop. I really do think it's a government psyop. Same with these flying saucers.
Yeah, people follow proclamations like that. So it's only they only hear the headline, and then what happens is underneath that you've got to peel away the first layer and then get to the truth. It's a little bit like the nonsense, as the boys from Sheep Farm call it, 91 Divot. It's a little bit like that. People only saw fear, masks, death. That's all they saw.
That's right, yeah.
Very few people thought, hang on, if this is airborne, we did already.
Yeah.
Hang on. What? Really?
Well, do you know something, Robert? We've got to be careful. I mean, I feel terrible saying to people, watch out, we're on YouTube. I really feel bad about that. But the trouble is, I hate this censorship. This is why I go over to Rumble on Sundays. And it's great to say all the words we want on Sundays. And you're free. Why should it be like this? And, what's this community standards? What are these bloody community standards? And what is the community? Whose community? What community?
Yeah,
I mean, if I, I might be saying something in English that might mean something rude in another language. I don't know, because our language is evolving. So what? I mean, well, it's beyond me,
But you could potentially get somebody who's offended by every single word you say. So potentially you could have podcasts where you're just silent, and I'm sure somebody would be offended by that and all.
That's what they want, Paul. They want to kill discourse. They want to kill it, and they want to kill it and keep it dead, and pour petrol on it and burn the ashes. That's what they want to do. And if we let them, then we're culpable. I mean, we're collaborators, really. But by actually biting our tongues. I was warned a couple of years ago about my comments on LinkedIn, because I used to maybe crack a joke every once in a while, but that is a business Facebook. And the person very, very kindly said to me, look, people are watching, Robert. People are listening to that. And it doesn't matter. It might come up and bite you in the arse maybe 5 or 6 years down the line, when you need that one last job to kind of top up your pension before you retire. And that person may have read a bit of feed and taken a bit of offense, looked at your CV and said, well, that was that bloody big mouth bloke that worked in this place, and this place. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give him that. So it might have been that way. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to kill everything. I mean, I got a community warning this afternoon on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, I get them on a regular basis. And I think, hang on, you didn't even know what I was going to type. But I think there are markers on certain channels and certain users on YouTube that that they let things go. And they're acceptable, and pretty much no matter what they say. And then there are certain people that say the same thing and that get absolutely mullered. I mean, I could say...
You're spot on. I've seen this.
Yeah,
there's people that can get away with absolute murder on there.
Yes.
And you just say one word out of place and you're hammered. I mean, I remember, we're all old enough to remember the troubles in Northern Ireland.
Yes.
Now, do you remember the press was always Catholics this, Protestants that, Protestants this, Catholics that? Why? It's to stir trouble up.
Do you remember the ridiculous silencing of Jerry Adams, where they wouldn't?
Yes. I remember that. Yes.
You'd see his lips moving, and he wasn't allowed a voice. Maybe that was one of the first things of being cancelled. Maybe because he was silenced, literally.
Yeah.
You heard Martin McGuinness and all the rest of them. You heard Ian Paisley. All of those people you heard, but you didn't hear Jerry Adams.
That's it. And of course, what it does the opposite. I remember it. And they used to actually have an actor doing the voiceover.
Didn't you think it was funny that they put his name on, showed his face, and then did a fake Irish accent? We thought, well, that's just pretty... You might as well just let him speak, because you're basically doing that anyway.
Do you remember that bloke, that comedian that had a balloon? He said, I'm now going to do a voiceover for Jerry Adams.
Yeah,
is it Nitro?
Helium balloon, yeah.
Helium, that's it, yeah.
But I think people see through, I think Paul might agree with me as well. People are starting to see through that now. Through the absolute nonsense.
I think, in fairness...
Sorry, go on. Sorry, Paul.
I was going to say, on Facebook, I get things through for, like, am I allowed to say EVs?
Yeah, go ahead,
And for some reason, I mean, I don't even own a car, and I'm not interested in having a car, but I get things from Auto Trader about electric vehicles, and random questions like, what do you think of electric vehicles? And I see the thread of comments on there, and pretty much everyone is, you can stick it up your ass, basically, and you can, and that's and that also applies with the other thing we can't talk about. That I get stuff from random NHS places about getting a certain thing.
Yes.
And the
medical intervention.
And the thread on there is pretty much the same as well, basically telling them to get lost, basically, or words to that effect.
That's right. Well, look at that. Did I tell you about the steamer? I wanted a steamer to steam jackets and trousers. So not a steam iron. So I thought, I was thinking about it. Suddenly, on the internet, bang, 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 steam this, steam that. I'm thinking, hang on a moment. are they listening to what people say? Because I did say to somebody
Yeah,
about this, and I'm positive that I mean it's a 1 to 1 chance. Who the hell would look for a steam, sort of a steam iron type thing? I wanted, but not necessarily an iron. I got one in the end, but this is very weird. Very, very strange. These things
It's
happen.
uncanny, isn't it? It's creepy.
It is creepy. It is very, very creepy because. I know you can manifest things through thought, but that's a little bit going over the top. But someone suggested, Stephen Truthinger says, your portfolio got left on the underground. It could have done. You never know. You're a minister without portfolio. And
he was obviously using the Elizabeth line the other day, where it was just taken out for no reason.
Really?
No warning. Yeah, it was taken out for no reason, no warning. And that thing cost apparently £18 billion. So that money was not taken from Londoners. That money was taken from people in Newcastle, Tyne and Wear, Scarborough, America, all over the British Isles. That money was siphoned out from there to the contractors in London.
And
do you realise? Sorry, Paul. Carry on. Sorry.
I was going to say, and yet the Elizabeth line as a whole is pretty much. It starts at Reading, which is outside of London anyway. So you can't. There's only a certain part of that network you can use anyway. Like if you've got your Oyster card and stuff like that, you can't travel to Reading on it, which lost a lot of the commuter services that used to run between Reading and Paddington, and the same out of Liverpool Street. They used to go Liverpool Street, Shenfield, with the older trains.
Yeah,
and that's all changed. And
now it extends out to Shenfield and Canary Wharf and all that kind of stuff. It's very good to use. Don't get me wrong, but 18 billion, really? And it was something like 10 billion over budget, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody said, "Hang on a bit, where did the bloody money go?"
Precisely.
That's actually our money. So there's people there's school meals in Newcastle that have been chopped off, and in Liverpool and places like that, Manchester, Doncaster, and Huddersfield, regional places like my hometown, Birmingham. People have gone without there. Birmingham Council said they were bankrupt the other day. Did anybody remember reading about it?
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, my beloved brother, God rest his soul, is gone, but he used to work for Birmingham Council, and he cited the amount of waste and sort of cronyism that was there was just absolutely disgusting. Absolutely.
The wastage across the board. I mean, as Chris knows, I like my trains and buses, and the railway side of things is unbelievably wasteful. The amount of money they spend on like refurbishing trains, older trains, and then within 6 months they're put into storage and then sold for scrap, and they've spent millions and millions on refurbishing trains, and even the current stuff now, the units that used to work out towards on the Great Eastern Line out to Clacton and so on, they refurbished and overhauled 30 of them, put air conditioning on them. They did about 6 months. Now they're cutting them off for scrap, and yet come January they'll say, well, we've got to put the fares up. Well, how do you justify putting the fares up by another 5% when you've got these trains that you could have used and you've just sold them for scrap? I'd like to know who's getting the backhanders for all the trains that have been scrapped. I mean, during the privatisation era, the scrap merchants have had a steady supply of trains for scrap. Sorry, it might be off topic, but it's
interesting. It's interesting.
Still stuff we pay out for.
Yeah,
but it's a generation thing.
With you, Paul and Chris, this might be a bit of a left field thing, but how much of that do you think was money laundering? Running these things into obsolescence and paying out a shitload of money. Do you think that was a money laundering exercise, or in part?
I think it's all backhanders if we're talking about the railway world.
I've heard about that.
Because the rolling stock, people won't know this, but the rolling stock is owned by the banks.
Jesus.
And they're leased to the train operating companies.
Whoa.
And that is why.
That's
why every time there's a bit of snow or a bit of wind or rain or whatever, the trains stop, because the banks don't want their assets getting damaged. It has nothing to do with safety and all this crap. It's all to do with the trains are owned by the banks. And what the banks are basically saying is, up yours to the passenger. We'll keep our assets safe, thanks.
Bloody
And
hell.
that's
Paul, did you drive
amazing.
it?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The
Sorry,
likes
Robert,
of
yeah,
Angel
carry on.
Trains and Porterbrook, they're owned by the banks.
Paul, did you drive a train or a bus at one point?
No, I'm just an anorak.
Right, nothing
Just
wrong
an
with that.
enthusiast.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. So do you like steam trains? Is that your thing as well?
I like all eras, but I certainly follow a lot of the current scene, should we say. I mean, like, I don't know if there's anybody on here from Merseyside. They've just had a delivery of about 80 odd or 70 odd brand new trains.
Yeah.
And they replaced the older stock, the previous units, which were super duper reliable.
Yeah.
And these new things are absolute junk. Their seats are rock hard. They're failing left, right, and centre. And I was talking to a guard at a place called Sandhills on the just outside Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's coming with the new units? And he said, well, they approached Stadler, the company who built them, came and approached Merseyrail and said, what do you want on these new trains? And they said, we want this, 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 and this. And when the first unit arrived, they got nothing that they'd asked for. So it's a bit like Christmas Day, really. We'd ask Santa for something, and he turns up with nothing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, that
absolute
stinks,
crap.
that, because it really does. Because we're talking about tens of millions, aren't we, there?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That is just disgraceful. And also, the ticketing is, it's like trying to decipher a hieroglyph when you're trying to buy a ticket. Jesus Christ. I mean...
Well, ultimately, they want you to book in advance so they know exactly where you are.
Do you think that's the reason?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So they can
but
track
can't
what
they
train.
track you anyway? Invariably, most people have got their mobile phone on them. I mean, that is a tracking device writ large, isn't it? Your mobile phone. I mean, unless you've got it in a Faraday case of some sort or whatever. That is, it's your tracking thing, But that's one of the things that I sent you on the list, if you remember, Chris. It was, how do we what are the solutions? How do we combat this surveillance society? I got bumped in Harrow for slipping down a little bus lane thing. Couldn't see the camera. It was probably aloft about 40 feet in the air, and I got a ticket, a little snap of my car as I shot through this little thing, and I thought, what is this? Yeah, good for you, Nathan. I wouldn't go anywhere near Facebook. Yeah. Absolutely not. I've never been interested in it. I've got an old Instagram account, but that's usually for music and NFL stuff, really. And
I prefer Telegram myself.
And food and whatever else, and I don't use it for anything else. Facebook, Google, Pokemon, and
yeah.
I could rant about the railways for hours.
The CIA.
I mean, something maybe the viewers might want, or the listeners might want to check out at some point of the Southwestern Railway Class 442s. They were every one of them was overhauled and refurbished, and not one of them turned a wheel. They were all sold for scrap.
Jesus. Paul, at a guess, let's say, for instance, you've got a 14-carriage train, right? Mm-hmm. How much would that cost to refurbish wheels up, roughly?
As one batch of let's go with about 100,000 at a guess, pounds at a guess. That's only a guess.
Yeah.
That's only a guess. Yeah. But that's something that comes out with privatisation, because they have all the lines are done on franchises. So if you're occupying, let's say you're National Express and you take on the East Coast Main Line, you'll have that franchise for 10 years.
Yeah.
But you'll never make any money on it, because you can only stop at the stations that the previous franchise stopped at.
Designated station. Yeah.
But then every 10 or 15, every 5 or 7 years, when the franchise is up, the trains are all refurbished and all repainted. So the only people that are making the money out of it are the people who paint the trains and refurbish them.
Well,
I think you answered your previous question there, Paul, as to who cui bono, who benefits,
It definitely isn't the passenger. Let's put it that way.
Well,
Sure as shit isn't. You're quite right, actually. I fucking hate train travel.
that's right. But this is the most corrupt country in the world. Someone said this
I
on the
think you're
internet.
right, Leo.
And here, it's all undercover. And, the government are honest, with scrupulously honest. Yet in the third world countries, it's in your face and you see it.
Yeah.
Because
Sorry, Chris. Go on.
No, carry on. No, what I was going to say is, I was talking to a chap who's second generation Nigerian, and he has contact with his family in Nigeria, and he said, in Nigeria during the old time, he said it was the posh snobs that were queuing up to get the old, you know what.
Yeah.
Yet the average bod in the street who had seen what governments do was cynical, and they didn't go in for it. And he said they are the most intelligent. He said the farmers, the plumber, the bloke working down a shop, they are the ones that didn't go in for it. It was the snobs that took it up. And he said, so last laugh on them. So it's quite interesting, because he knew directly what was happening over there, Yeah. But anyway, we're coming up to our time now. And it's been sorry. You'll have to now. You're off for 2 weeks, I believe. You've got next week, and
I'm off until the 27th. Yeah.
27th, brilliant. Well, I'll get in contact with you, but stay online because we'll Zoom off. But thanks, gentlemen, for a very interesting show tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't read everybody's comments in the comments section. Please forgive me, but they'll be shown tomorrow if I'm not booted off. But if I am, then the show next Monday will go ahead. You just do it by Rumble, that's all. So if you don't see me here next week, I'll be on Rumble. So simple as that. I just to YouTube, But what I was going to say, now we've sorted the intro. Sorted your internet out, so we know what the problem is now. So you're okay, Because anyway, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Paul, for coming on.
Thank
Is there anything you?
Thank you, Robert. Nice to speak to you both.
Likewise, good to meet you.
Thank you to all our listeners as well.
Well, thank you for everybody in comments as well. It's very kind. And anything you'd like to say, before we sign off at all?
Paul?
We're going to win this, and we are on the right team. That's all I can say. We are going to win.
Yeah.
Robert?
I believe you're right, because we've got no choice. And I'd like to say a big to the ladies and Louise and all the rest, and Aunt Sally and all the rest, and a big hi and a big hug to Chris and his good lady.
Yes, Jess, and hope she's battling on, and as I say, we've got peaceful thoughts going that way. And what I always say at the end of the show is, whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.
Too right.